Hello everybody, welcome back to the James Lawrence Allcott channel. Erik Ten Hag seems to be the front runner for Manchester United, and until we find out otherwise, I want to go down this road, and I want to go a little bit further than other people have, because as much as we want to talk about Erik Ten Hag in this video, I'm going to give a bit of background on him as a manager. I also want to talk about which players will be the casualties for Man United when it comes to Erik Ten Hag coming in, because if he does come in, it's going to be a bit of a clean slate for him. You've got a lot of players out of contract in the world of football this year because of COVID. And also there's a lot of changes that need to be made to a flabby mishmash of a Man United squad. So in this video, we're going to talk about his identity, his squads, his tactics, his style, and how that will hurt and hinder and create casualties for some of the Man United squad. If we can get to 3,000 likes on this video, yeah, 3,000 seems enough, then we will do a video on which players I think would be good replacements in those roles that are going to have holes in them, because Erik Ten Hag is not going to like some of the players in this Man United squad. So if you enjoyed this video and you want that extra one, hit the like button. Also, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We're trying to get ourselves to 200k, but before that, we need to get ourselves to 170,000 subscribers. So if you are new to the channel and you enjoy the content, please do take those 2 seconds and hit that button for me. We've got loads of live content coming up, so lots to enjoy. Right, let's get into this and start off with Erik Ten Hag's background prior to Ajax. So Erik Ten Hag has come into the limelight in a much stronger way in the last year, of course, with his time at Ajax and what he's been able to create there. But he's been there a good few years and has been able to evolve the squad time and again, which is something that kind of goes with the job at Ajax. But he does have a background prior to that. Previously, in his first job, he was at Go Ahead Eagles. He achieved the first promotion for them in 17 years. After that, he went on to manage Bayern Munich 2 and was averaging 2.14 points per game for them, which is pretty special. But of course, it is Bayern Munich as well. He then moved on to FC Utrecht. FC Utrecht are a team that are kind of always sort of in mid-table, and then every so often would kind of make a bit of a challenge. During his time there, he never finished lower than 6th. Creating that consistency, and to this day they're doing pretty well for themselves as a football club. And what's really important about his time at FC Utrecht is something that people don't really talk about, is that he was also a sporting director there as much as he was the head coach. And what that means is that for something that Man United are crying out for, but I also feel a little bit sick in my mouth when I say it, identity and philosophy are two things that Erik Ten Hag has a very clear vision on. And actually, that's the bigger thing with this. It's clarity and a clear vision of how you want to play is that what Man United are screaming for. But of course, they need the right players for that vision as well. And that's something that Erik Ten Hag, if he comes into Manchester United and becomes the head coach, that understanding of the sporting director role will, I think, grease the wheels in terms of his ability to work with other people within the structure at Man United. So when we're talking about identity and philosophy, no, we're not talking about a terrible title for a rap album. We're talking about what your principles of play are. And when it comes to Erik Ten Hag, he takes a lot of inspiration from Pep Guardiola. Here's a comment from him about Guardiola. I learnt a lot from Guardiola, Ten Hag said previously when discussing Guardiola. His philosophy is sensational. What he did in Barcelona, Bayern, and now with City, that attacking style sees him win a lot. It's this structure that I have tried to implement at Ajax. And you can see that. You can see that with the average positions of the team. You can see that in the roles of the players and also the dominance that he shows. Now, some people might want to kind of have a little go at not being able to get past Benfica. But if you look at this Ajax side this season, in the league, they've scored 80 goals and conceded 13 in 27 matches, which is incredible in its own right. So there's an utter dominance in how they play. And when we focus on the games that they've lost, blasé, lazy punditry will suggest, well, if you lose the game, you don't deserve to win the game. It doesn't really work like that. But this is also kind of why we love the game, because it is just a low-scoring game and the variables are so high. And so you can dominate a football match. Man City dominate pretty much every football match they play. But sometimes they lose. That's the beauty of the game. And if you look at Ajax and their 3 defeats so far this season, against AZ Alkmaar, the XG in that game, and if we look at the momentum bar here as well, 3.61 to 1.33. So smash and grab, let's be honest. Against Go Ahead Eagles, they lost 2-1. The XG was 1 to 1.93. So Go Ahead Eagles doing a little bit more, but again, that dominance of possession there, which is something that obviously we haven't seen as much with Manchester United. And then that game in question, Ajax against Benfica, 1.29 expected goals to 0.40 expected goals for Benfica. And again, you can see from the momentum bar here that Ajax dominated these games and dominated this game that of course they should have won, but it's one of those where it's not, you can't really have a go at the manager here. It's just one of those where you weren't able to break down the opposition. Bit like what you see with Pep a lot of the time, and you can see it in the average positions as well. Very, very positive in how they play. And again, I think that's the biggest thing for Man United, is the fact that they don't dominate their games. If they walk away and they've lost through a lucky goal or a set piece, you can live with that. It's the lack of fluency and attacking verve and identity and philosophy that you're just not seen from Man United in a long time. You've had give it a go with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. You've had defensive nature from Jose Mourinho. You've had let's just keep the ball as long as we can with Louis van Gaal. None of these work. And I don't think Man United fans would want to say it out loud, but that Guardiola style, that dominance, is what Ten Hag would bring. Crucially as well, they're both bald. Hit the like button. So as we've discussed, Erik Ten Hag's style is a attacking, possession-based tactical approach, and it's almost exclusively a 4-2-3-1. So with the system, you have 2 centre-backs who there's a lot of pressure on them in Martinez and Jurrien Timber. They both have to be able to deal with the wide spaces. They're very athletic, pacey, great on the ball as well, so they're comfortable defending out wide when they have to. And the reason they have to do that is because Erik Ten Hag likes his fullbacks to bomb on. He wants those marauding fullbacks. So on the left-hand side, Tagliafico is normally the left back when he's fit, getting up high, as you can see with both of these fullbacks. If he's not available, then Daley Blind would step in and you'd play a bit more of an elbow back four. But on that right-hand side, Mazraoui is pretty much playing as a winger for them. As I said, it's just very, very positive. Going into midfield, again, similar to this Man City sort of style of play, you've got Edson Alvarez, who sits there and plays that kind of Rodri role, the traditional 6, very similar to Rodri in his style of play. And next to him, and I say next to him loosely, you have Gravenberch. Gravenberch is a old school Dutch number 8, similar to Hullet in the style of play. Really, really exciting player who's got a huge future in world football at the very top of the game, and inevitably will be going to a big club sooner or later. That double pivot, and I use that loosely, it provides a solid base for the front four to stay as advanced and as wide as possible. We spoke about this during the Champions League previews, that they're all technically brilliant, but they don't have ego. They're a very well-oiled machine that create chances for each other. So you have Haller as this sort of backboard for the team, but also because of the amount of players up there and those crosses that come into the box from the likes of Antony, for example, he's also a player who gets himself into the box, and because of his aerial prowess, he's able to score a hell of a lot of goals for Ajax as well. So who at Man United will suffer? Like, we've established the style of play that Erik Ten Hag wants to employ, and if he gets the job, there is a blueprint there. So with that blueprint in mind, who will be the casualties? And heads up, guys, this could get brutal. So let's have a look at it here. What we're going to do here is, with that understanding of how he wants to play, he wants fullbacks that want to get forward. He wants to have a 6. He wants to have an 8. He wants to have a bit of a target man. He then wants, I guess, a 10 with him, and he wants attacking players alongside him so that you can have that 4 as well. He needs 2 centre-backs as well that are comfortable on the ball. And goalkeeper, we'll talk about goalkeeper in a second as well. But 2 fullbacks that are going to be able to bomb forward. So, as we make our way through this, I guess first point of call is someone like David De Gea, I guess. Is he a casualty here? David De Gea should be fine for at least a season. So he is a goalkeeper who is comfortable with the ball at his feet. I think he can be much better with his kicking. I got hammered for that in a video, but Stephen Housen did a fantastic one talking about his stats in terms of his kicking. And it's an interesting one where I hadn't looked into the numbers of it, but in terms of the eye test, I guess I got that one right because he was down the bottom when it comes to the top goalkeepers in the league and also kind of rushing out as well. So he should be fine. But in terms of, say, Onana's absence at Ajax, Ten Hag has still been able to make the 38-year-old Remco Pasveer the goalkeeper and make it work, and he's nothing special in possession. I think it would be in the second stage that you would be looking to change that up, and it might be one where actually Dean Henderson has a fight on his hands to possibly get back in that number one position because he is very strong with his feet, but I think David De Gea would be pretty comfortable in what he would be doing, so I don't think there's a casualty there. Moving on into the right-back positions. In terms of casualties at right-back, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, for me, I think is one of those casualties. I don't think he really stands a chance. Simply not really good enough on the ball going forwards. You know, in the attacking third, it's just not there. And for teams that should be dominating every game that they play, he should be exciting going forward, and he's not. I just don't see it working, especially on that right-hand side. And what's interesting here is someone like Mazraoui is out of contract at the end of the season. So it could be one where he is a direct replacement, because I think that's something to keep an eye on as well, is that there are a few options with Ten Hag if you bring him, as opposed to someone like Poch, because if you bring him, there's a lot of youngsters that you could maybe bring along with you. Harry Maguire. I think Harry Maguire will become a casualty. The reason for that is, as we've spoken about, that ability to move out wide is just a problem for him. You know, I like him, but he, you know, it's like someone like Wes Morgan. I like Wes Morgan, but you know, you can't play him going out and dealing with stuff in these areas of the pitch. You just can't do it. And that lack of athleticism from Harry Maguire is a problem. Look at the best teams. Ruben Dias is able to do that. John Stones is actually capable of doing that. Laporte, and of course Virgil van Dijk, so good at that as well. Maguire's passing, I think a lot of the time is good, is strong, but he's just kind of so slow at times, and that massively hinders him. And if he is exposed, and I think he would be exposed in Erik Ten Hag's style of play, you look at the profiles of someone like Timber and Martinez and how they can work as a duo. Maguire's characteristics, that sort of lack of grace at times, and I think overall agility is the biggest problem that's been exposed this year. It's going to massively go against him, and I think he loses the captaincy and has a decision to make. It's going to be interesting to see what he wants to do, especially in a World Cup year. Varane, I think, would be okay. Eric Bailly, I think, would struggle with this as well in terms of sort of having that calmness and not making those mistakes. He sometimes can be like that. Possibly Lindelof could have a future there, and of course you can't get rid of everyone. But I think Harry Maguire, as much as I want him to do well, and I think there are places for him at big teams, for example, this Man United team moving forward, I'm not sure he would survive, especially with the feeling amongst fans around him. McTominay and Fred, I think they're going to be casualties as well, because they don't fit in these boxes. They don't fit as a six. You think of Edson Alvarez, and again, to give you that kind of comparison to someone like Rodri, to be that six, Fred, he's not good enough coming back and picking up the ball. He's not good enough protecting. He's much better higher up the pitch, which we've seen. McTominay, similar thing, and in particular, the fact that he's just incapable of playing as that six in terms of getting on the ball and going, give it to me. You know, look at someone like Brozovic this season. At any point, you can have more bodies thrown forward because he will pick up the ball and you can trust him to hold on to it. He is press-proof and he finds solutions. You don't see that with McTominay and Fred. Yes, could they be squad players, but first-team players in terms of the 8 position or the 6 position, I just can't see them fitting either of those. And again, maybe Gravenberch is the answer. Maybe there's another midfielder out there as well. And again, you'll find that out if you can hit the like target of 3,000 likes. Higher up the pitch, I think there's some elements and positivity here for a few players, which we'll talk about. But let's stick with the casualties for now. Ronaldo could also be in danger. I think if you think of how Haller plays, this is a question for people. As Ronaldo looks to evolve, could he be a target man? I think that's worth kind of putting into play. The problem is the pressing. I think they will look to press high up the pitch. If you saw that in those average positions, dominate the ball, but when you lose it, try and win it back quickly. He's not a winger anymore. He's not going to play out wide. And so as a striker, you've got to work hard within the interplay, which is something that Ronaldo's not been great for. It's quite a sort of selfless thing. That said, if you played in this similar style where he was able to do that work better, which is something probably Edinson Cavani's a little bit more suited to, then actually, in terms of goals and the kind of goals that he wants, him being able to get into the box and those crosses coming in for him and that service from, be it from the byline or from crosses from deep, that is something that Ronaldo could really thrive on. At the moment, Cavani's a better fit, but I do wonder if you're trying to make it work with Ronaldo, and Ronaldo himself wants to make it work at Man United, maybe there's a role for him as a target man. Is his hold-up play good enough? Let me know in the comments below. So those, for me, are the big casualties when it comes to the first 11 at this moment in time. That said, there are loads of positives with Erik Ten Hag coming in, and I think there's a lot of players that will actually be rejuvenated by him coming back in. Someone like Luke Shaw, I think Luke Shaw could really, really flourish. I also think it's not the end of Rashford. I know a lot of people just sort of writing him off now. I think it's utter nonsense. And I think Rashford, on that left-hand side, someone who will put the work in, is able to kind of take instruction as well, but he needs a home. He needs to understand who he is and what position he wants to play. And we think about how great Luke Shaw and Rashford were together 2 seasons ago. I would like to see that come back. And I think that could be really, really good and really strong for Man United. So I don't think it's the end for Rashford. Luke Shaw, I think so as well. Sancho on the right-hand side, I could see absolutely thriving under Erik Ten Hag. Bruno Fernandes in that 10 role. Berghuis is in that role at this moment in time at Ajax. I think he would absolutely thrive and wouldn't be having to concern himself with that sort of 8 role and getting back as much because they would be dominant. Maybe he'd have to be a bit cuter with how he uses the ball at times. That could be part of it as well, because he does like to take those risks. He might need to sort of manoeuvre and change and evolve a little bit as well. But there's some players there that would really, really do so much more with Erik Ten Hag in the squad. The big things are, though, a right back is going to be needed. Massively, massively so. Centre midfield could be a bit of a crisis. You know, if you evaluate Man United's playing staff and we know that he wants a 6 and he wants an 8, then, you know, Fred and McTominay, they could both be binned off pretty quickly. I mean, maybe Fred can play in that 8 role. Maybe. But maybe they want to go and get someone who's got a higher ceiling than someone like Fred. Like we were speaking about with Gravenberch. That's someone who has a higher ceiling than Fred in that role. The situation with Paul Pogba feels like it's going to resolve itself, and I don't think he will be a Man United player next year as well. Donny van der Beek, there is no buyback clause there, so maybe there could be a place here in that 8 role for Donny. Why not? You know, I think he obviously did well at Ajax and would be perfect to play the 8 position. So that could be something that could happen without that buyback clause. He's obviously coming back because they want to give him another opportunity. Striker, as we said, is going to be a massive issue. And there are a few options that could be there, but you're going to need someone with that physicality, that ability to be that backboard. Yes, it could be Cavani. And again, I'll put forward that question of someone like Ronaldo. Of course, Martial would return as well. Would there be a place in here for him, even if it's off the bench? Would he be willing to do that as well? So in summary, I think Ten Hag's arrival would be a blessing for Man United fans because of how brilliant he is as a coach, but also because of the identity and philosophy that he puts forward. It's very clear, it's very attacking, it's very exciting, and it's how the most dominant teams dominate these days. With that, you've got yourself a summer where there's a huge opportunity with a lot of free agents this summer, but you've also got a lot of dead wood at Man United as well. So it could be one where you really do sort of wipe off the whiteboard here and start again, because look, at the end of the day, people want to play for Man United, but it's been round pegs in square holes for a very, very long time. But with Erik Ten Hag, if he is given that carte blanche and also 3-year contract, and you know he's a smart dude with a great level of experience, I think there would be that patience and understanding, and quite quickly you would see what he's trying to do. But he would have to do a lot of work in the summer. It's going to be a very, very exciting summer, and we will be following it, of course, on the James Lawrence Allcott channel. So if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do. If you like this video, then hit the like button, and if you enjoyed it, make sure you share it as well, all that good stuff, and get involved in the comments with those questions. We're talking about Poch, we're talking about Ronaldo. Let me know in the comments below, and let's have a chat. See you in the next one.